The new spiritual world order. It has already begun. Pure sovereignty is the only way to rise, and the time is now to rise. Welcome, my friends. My name is Master Juniper Bloom Mystique. I am a true master healer, an ascension master, and a divine guide. Since 2019, when I had my own Kundalini sudden awakening, I have been doing things that would absolutely blow your mind. They're beyond our limited mind space from the old world energy. It is truly the return of Christ. Today, I have something very important to talk about: the new spiritual world order. What does that mean? What does it mean to be a pure sovereign being? I am getting ready to start the 13 gates of abundance because I have recently birthed the new earth and the return of Christ. We are in the final portal of time. We are in the final portal of time, meaning we must rise. We must rise now through the light of the one that brought it all about. Okay. This is not about heaven and hell. Oh, no, no, no. It's about higher frequency beings being pure sovereign. The old world order says we have to be controlled and manipulated through fear, through judgment, through ego, through greed, controlled and manipulated. We were giving our power away the whole time. And if you did the path to righteousness, which was the entire return of Christ and having me bring you out of the old world into the new, I awakened you. I taught you how to heal. I taught you how to call your power back through every portal, through every gate, 13 gates into new earth, into heaven on earth. We have to be cleansed of karma. We have to be cleansed of the shadow components. Those are the components of the old world order of fear, division, war, bloodshed, control, mind control, body control, and control of your soul. In order to rise now, we must be a pure soul. We must be in our full sovereignty, not controlled by money and greed and fear and those 9-to-5 matrix component jobs, but in our ability, knowing we are creators, knowing how to use the world to heal, knowing the truths behind the limited mind. There's something I want to show you really quick, okay? Because something came up today, and this aligned with what God wanted me to talk about today, okay? The return of Christ does, however, play out on this channel, from freeing Jesus's soul to clearing Mount Shasta to activating all pyramids, which are the 13 gates. Those are the ones you needed to rise through and call your power back each way to make it into the new earth. Those are the pyramid portals. Indonesia, Myanmar, Budapest, Machu Picchu, Thailand, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Ecuador, British Columbia, Kilimanjaro, Congo. All of those are the pyramid portals that I activated since 2019. I undid the Holy Grail, united Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and I went to the Nile portal, which was Sekhmet and Horus. I freed Horus's soul, undid the darkness of the moon, realigned the sun, and took us into 7D too. And do you know why the blood of Christ had to be brought down? It's because the Holy Grail was a contract written in his blood in Hebrew by John the Apostle and 3 other fallen, in order to trap and enslave mankind. So even religion has to be let go. Okay? That is the return of Christ, and this is what you are in. And each one of those lifetimes came back to being whole. Okay? My DM and I, it's twin flames, not just a man named Jesus. It goes back to Adam and Eve. For when I birthed the new earth recently on August 1st through the 8th, God brought the final components of my DM and I together, put our feet in the core, and we birthed the new earth very beautifully and forevermore. And we divided the matrix from the new earth through the final Nile wall. We are in the final portal of time. And on day 2, I realigned the new planetary alignment because we're in 7D, not 5, not 3, or not 4. And then on day 3, I took the sun and the moon and realigned them in an ethereal eclipse, not ones that you're used to. And DNA from Christ came down in a very powerful, profound paradigm shift way. And we are in more. Day 4 was the seasons and food. Day 5, I did the chakra system of the new earth, but I cut it off from the old world at the same time. Day 6, I called back all light and divination from the matrix. The only way you're going to be able to communicate and to connect and to heal through God is in the new earth, because you cannot, and I repeat, you cannot take light into the darkness anymore. There's something that popped up that I want to show you. So I'm going to share this with you momentarily, okay? And we probably won't watch the whole thing, but it's very important because God said, share it. So I'm going to, okay? All right, let's listen.
To an ICU room, and we couldn't do anything. I decided that I would not squander one bit of this pain. Everything that happens in my life happens for a reason. Hundreds of millions of us are acquiring this new consciousness. We are a multisensory species that...
Let me turn it up just a little bit. So did you hear that? I do believe he had a near-death experience, and that's what he was talking about. Let's listen.
Evolves by growing spiritually, and grows spiritually by creating...
Let's listen to that again because of volume issue, okay? Ready?
That's when the pain began. Linda was taken to an ICU room, and we couldn't do anything. I decided that I would not squander one bit of this pain. Everything that happens in my life happens for a reason. Hundreds of millions of us are acquiring this new consciousness. We are a multisensory species that evolves by growing spiritually, and grows spiritually by creating authentic power. The old understanding of power, which is ability to manipulate and control, prevents our evolution. The universe is not outside of you, it's inside, and there's no outside. What lies behind your eyes is more powerful than what lies in front of them. Temptation is a dress rehearsal or a negative karmic event. It shows you what a frightened part of your personality is planning if you want to change not only yourself, but the world.
I've been telling you guys the 13 dates represent karmic, the 13 gates represent the ability to clear your karma through all of them. They presented you with 13 temptations of the shackles that bind, and today we are starting the 13 gates of abundance into new earth healing. It's just a releasing of all that was to help you rise into the higher frequency of love. But those temptations create the karmic patterning. None of you are free of that because everything happens through you, not to you. Okay. And just like he said, and I've been saying this since I finished bringing the return of Christ. And even before that, Revelations and the 13 gates, all of the gates of darkness. In order to rise, you have to clear your karmic demise. You have to choose love through the lens of love. The lens of love must be your guide. And those are the ones that are going to rise. And so I also talked about many times over that what I do is beyond your limited mind. It's less important what's outside of ourselves, but more important of what's inside. For the universe truly does reside within you. Let's listen more.
Now is both the time and the place to do it. I woke up in the earth school. We knew about it. But now I was in it, and I was awakened. And I heard these words very clear in my mind. Everything that Linda and I have shared from the beginning has had to do with a new consciousness, multisensory perception, that is replacing the old consciousness, which is limited to the 5 senses and which understands power as the ability to manipulate and control. The new consciousness is not limited to the 5 senses, and it understands power as alignment of the personality with the soul, with harmony, cooperation, sharing, and reverence for life.
Yes, and this is what we talk about, being balanced from the heart center. One must be balanced from the heart center. Alignment is everything. If you are not in alignment with your soul's path, your pure soul power, owning your sovereignty every way, you cannot rise. You cannot rise, and the time is now to rise. He says it so beautifully. I love this.
And the old power is obsolete, but more than obsolete, with the arrival of the new consciousness, the old understanding of power, which is ability to manipulate and control, is now counterproductive to our evolution. It prevents our evolution. In other words, it produces only violence and destruction.
Yes.
This is the new territory we're in. And Linda and I have shared this new territory, how to create authentic power, what the tools are, emotional awareness, responsible choice, consulting intuition. And it's been
Consulting intuition. So this is what I talk about. Co-creation is required. That's what my new book talks about. Okay. It aligns you to that co-creation, how to be a co-creator. All right. New earth manifesting, co-creation. And this one actually comes with 70 invocations and intentions to align, to clear shadows, to do those things. Okay. So he is correct. And this is what I've been saying the whole time. Except with the return of Christ, the shadow always tries to blind you because it is a battle for your soul. Okay. But he is specifically stating to you everything that I have been saying is you have to be aligned from your heart center, aligned with your soul's purpose, not controlled through the shackles that bind 13 gates. A spiritual evolution of mankind, great reset of mankind applied. Okay. We can't be greedy. We can't be narcissistic in mind, right? It's all about the all connectedness of the one, co-creating, surrendering every which way, and knowing your power. If you don't know that you can call in money and you don't know how to call in money and how to align with abundance, there was work to do. Okay. If you can't see all, there's work to do because the shadow blinds you. It blinds your ability to see beyond. Now, during the return of Christ, I also activated new clairs. You should have new clairs. You should have new chakra systems because it is an evolution of mankind. In the path to righteousness, you would have received those because that's what God gave you the ability to have me do it for you. All you had to do was choose love, not greed, these temptations. It was your choice to choose love and to rise above the whole way and to surrender to co-creation in a whole new way, full sovereignty applied. Knowing you create your schedule, balance from the heart center is key. Let's listen.
oh, wonderfully deep, continually revealing, exciting, and illuminating conversation for us and for the people that we've shared it with. Then Linda Soul went home to non-physical reality 2 years ago on August the 6th, 2022. And that started transformations in me that are still in motion. First of all, everything that we shared that our non-physical teachers have given us, we know is so. I've transformed myself from a young person who was
So those temptations, the shadow, it uses your wounds. This is why it was so important to heal those wounds and call your power back and have a lens of unconditional love, not one of lack. For only lack can truly hold you back from that of the new world. To truly heal, to truly be free, to set your soul free and rise above into pure sovereignty of unconditional love. You are a powerful creator. Your lens from the matrix was pushed out. You were focused outward, right? You were focused outward on a world that didn't exist. And now God is asking to be aligned inward with your soul path, with your heart center, with that of the one, with all connectedness, knowing the world is inside of you. So the world is a reflection of you. Okay. The world is a reflection of you. Everything outside of you deals with the energy inside. So when things happen outward and you get in your head and you have these negative thoughts, those are temptations to use judgment and fear and ego. And within them, love does not reside. Every test was a testament to God to love unconditional. You are a powerful creator because the universe is within you. You must relieve what blocks you from that connection. You must heal and release and align through everything that you do. This is what you must have done. The path to righteousness that God allowed me to provide to some was a choice to rise above to the love of the one through the one that brought it all about. I took all your karma and brought it to the surface so that you can see clearly to choose love through every portal. I took your evolution, your DNA, your Christ light activations and provided those the whole way. We are evolving as a species, and you as a powerful creator do not need to give your power away. Manipulation, temptation, and fear, those are based in wounds that you hold near. And when you heal those and release those and call your power back every day, you would have aligned more to the sun in every way. For I am the sun. My DM is the moon. Horus and Sekhmet have returned too. We have taken the power back of the earth. That's what I did. That's what I do. And it was your job to take your power back and be the sovereign being that you are, to know how to manifest money, to know how to be free in your soul, your mind, your body, your spirit, and rise above to the highest frequency of a sovereign being through love, because that is who you are and the soul and the creation of the one. You weren't created to give your power away. You have free will for freedom. That is who you are. So nothing happens to you, only through you. So if you choose to give your power away, to feel weak, to feel burdened, to be afraid, to have to work and to be enslaved in the matrix wall, those are the two worlds that cannot rise together once and for all. They have been separated. They have been removed, and you cannot use the light in the darkness anymore. That was day 6 of birthing the new earth. I showed you that. Day 5, also, every day I did something in the new earth, I cut it off from the matrix. The matrix is now a dormant planet that is free falling. It's not connected to God at all. It's pure controlled by the puppet master, the one who got all of you to create karma through your wounded beliefs and giving your power away the whole way. For if you quit your job today, do you know how to make the world that you need? Do you know how to call in money complete, to be a pure sovereign being of high vibrational flow? To know that things that come towards you that are outside of love, you don't pick them up. You rise above. You choose to see beyond the limited mind, for that was the veil of mankind. It was not created by God. It was created by the fallen. And the fallen being the puppet master, getting in people's heads and taking their power away through free will. Through free will. Let's watch a little bit more of this video. I don't know what else he's going to say. We're going to find out. Let's hear.
Macho, insecure, that's what macho means.
Insecure,
And
macho,
addicted to sex.
addictions.
Didn't really care for people or even relate to people. They were just things in my life to use. And I'm different now. And it's because of the tools that we've been given, and I've used them, and Linda's used them, and a lot of people who we've shared them with are using them. So the first thing, I already knew these tools were true, or I knew that they worked. But when Linda's soul went home, I started to see things in ways I'd never seen before. The new consciousness applies to me. It's my consciousness. It's our consciousness. Everyone, hundreds of millions of us, are acquiring this new consciousness. And some of the things that have come to me after Linda's soul returned home to non-physical reality. And they are remarkable. For example, there comes a time when it's difficult to use language like this because I disappear. You disappear. You simply don't exist anymore. But of course, I'm still here. We're still talking. I'm Gary. So language doesn't follow. And in fact, to go where my consciousness has been showing me, you need to leave your intellect behind because it won't work. It's a tool that's inappropriate.
I told you, it's the limited mind space. We actually have to evolve in the mind. And that is a lot of the work that I've done as well. If you're not evolving through your mind into a higher frequency being, you're controlled by the shackles that bind. And that is where the shadow gets in. That is why you must take your power back from the mind. And what I do is beyond your mind. So to argue with me through their limited mind space of the dictionary, through the limited mind space of science, you are not aligning to the vast energy of God, of Christ returned, of what that means. It's not just a man named Jesus, is it? It's truly Adam and Eve, moving the earth and the moon, the sun and the moon, shifting the poles and creating 5 more. These are things you're going to feel in your heart, not know in your limited mind. For until you evolve enough through your mind, through your ears, through your eyes, through your heart, through your soul, and activate those dormant activations of DNA Christ whole, you won't understand.
Inappropriate's too weak a term. It doesn't work. It doesn't fit. The intellect is designed to analyze and compare data that the 5 senses provided to assist the personality in pursuing external power, manipulation, and control. It does not work outside of that, outside of those parameters.
No.
That's what it was designed to do, and it does it well. It's done it well for 300,000 years. But now we are no longer a 5-sensory species, evolving by surviving, and surviving by pursuing external power, manipulation, and control. We are a multi-sensory species, rapidly becoming so, that evolves by growing spiritually and grows spiritually by creating authentic power, the alignment of the personality with the soul. This is the new territory. I love sharing it, but these things that have been occurring to me are simply new in ways that I'm challenged to explain. So I've given up trying to explain them because they can't be explained, but they can be experienced. And that's what I want to share with you. In fact, as our teachers, Linda's and mine.
See, that's why God bypassed some time and put us into the great reset of mankind, because you had to rise above the limited mind. You had to rise above judgments towards the return of Christ, towards love. You had to rise above giving your power away. You had to be able to use a lens of love and go beyond the limited mind, beyond 3rd dimensional complex, beyond the ego mind, and into a mass cortex of energetic flow, mass expansion, evolution of mankind. We are evolving. We are not meant to stay controlled. You have to be a pure being of sovereignty. You have to know how to create the world through energy. And that is what I did for you, or what I would have done for you if you chose to rise above.
Sharing these things. At one time, I asked him, if I can't explain this, why are you, if I can't understand this, why are you explaining it to me? And this teacher said, because when you consider it and ponder it, that brings into being the possibility that it exists. And the possibility that it exists allows you to search for it and experience it. And so I share that with you now. Let me give you an example of, well, first of all, I'll start with what happened. Linda had a stroke. An ambulance took her to the nearby regional medical center. It should have been simple. Piece of cake. They keep her overnight and they returned her the next day after observation. The surgeon couldn't do it. He could not perform a procedure called an endovascular thrombectomy. When a person has a stroke, if that block that caused the stroke, which is what a stroke is, a block in an artery that prevents blood from flowing into a part of the brain, if that block is removed within 2 hours, the chances are very good there'll be no lasting damage. With an endovascular thrombectomy, that window is extended to 24 hours. So I was, of course, concerned, but I didn't expect what happened. The surgeon was waiting for us, took her right away into the operating room, and 20 minutes later told me, I can't do it. I couldn't. I tried going in through a vein in her leg, an artery, and I couldn't do it. Couldn't reach the block, which is here, the center of here. Yeah, right about the third eye. It was a massive stroke. Half of Linda's brain was deprived of oxygen and was dying. And he couldn't do anything about it. He said, I tried going in through her wrist, over her shoulder, and I couldn't do it. He said her arterial architecture is 1 in 7. It's got curves. It's just not straight. And I could get my device around those curves. He said, there's one unconventional procedure. I'll do it if you tell me to. I can puncture her carotid artery, which is in this neighborhood. And I said, yes, please do it.
Do whatever it takes,
20
right?
minutes later, he told me the same thing. Couldn't do it. I couldn't. I pushed so hard that my device started to move out of its sheath in her artery.
Jeez.
I'm sorry. Well, so Linda was taken to an ICU room, and that's where the stroke unfolded. And the doctors and the nurses and I watched, and we couldn't do anything. And her soul went home.
So everyone's talking about AI.
That's so sad, you guys. Now, with being a healer, a master healer, I heal things
3
that
days later.
commonly doctors don't see. They don't know everything yet. They still don't understand the body fully. And I will even tell you right now, as the medical field was not all created in light, a lot of these things cannot evolve, cannot remain, and will not stay the same. We are truly going into a new spiritual world order where Adam and Eve are the hub of everything once again, where God is the what must guide your light through the heart of the one, okay? So balanced, heart-centered creations, just like what he said, balanced, heart-centered creations. He said it a little bit differently, right? Your intuition comes from your guides, from your heart, from your higher self, from a knowing that is beyond the limited mind space, okay? It is absolutely beyond the limited mind space. Rising, to rise. Now is the time to rise. It's all of the return of Christ has been done and the matrix is falling. So don't let that be your demise. Rising means being healed from all shackles that bind, pure sovereignty of body, soul, and mind. Being able to see all, nothing being left behind. You have to heal all shadow to see. Lens of pure unconditional love, heart open wide. We cannot close our heart down. We cannot be afraid. Fear is not of God. That's not a high frequency energy. Energy rise to healed heights of pureness of the whole. 13 gates, shackles that bind. And today I'm starting the 13 gates that is actually available for everybody because we are now in the end of time. We are in the end of ways. We are in the end of ways of the old world order, the control, the divide, the division, the bloodshed, the sacrifice. God would not sacrifice anything, not even his son. That was a lie. Okay. That's why in the Nile painting, there's crosses burning, the Bible burning, because it was manipulated and changed and divided. God is no division. He is pure unconditional love of all connectedness to the wholeness of the one, of the power of the sun, the moon, the earth, and the soul. You are a divine sovereign being to the wholeness of the soul. It was up to you to look within, to keep that compass inward, to not worry about codependency and creation with a world that is falling, but to worry about your pure sovereignty and being able to stand in the pureness of your power of creation, to know how to use the world to create through the energies that you need, to go with the flow, to stay in balanced, heart-centered creations. That is why everything that I did, being the one that brought it all about, also provided every tool you needed, every workshop, every healing, return of Christ path, and all you had to do was rise through it without any doubt. To be able to understand that what I do is beyond a limited mind space. For when you let fear and confusion and judgment and doubt come in, it blinds you from God's heavenly grace. You cannot combine the shadow with the light anymore. It is time now to rise through the open heaven door. You must rise without karmic demise. You must rise into the pure sovereign soul that you are, knowing how to call in money, knowing what money truly is. For abundance will only rise now into new earth. That is all there is. It is either new earth or undone. It is time to evolve. Great reset of mankind has been done. For those who don't know, I will show you right now where to find the entirety of the return of Christ, including and not limited to the birthing of the new earth. But if you pick and choose what you see, you will not be able to see all, and it's going to take pure sovereignty and ability to see all to make it through. Okay? So on my channel, I have the Return of Christ Unfolds Here Ascension playlist. This is beyond what's in the path to righteousness, because there's more in the path to righteousness, because that was your ability to have the one do it for you, to help you through, to guide you through, to heal it all for you. That was priceless in truth. But on this channel, you're going to see the majority of it. The rising of Jesus Christ. So I processed his death. I did that after I cleared Mount Shasta. Okay, these things were just coming through me and happening through me. And I didn't even know I was a twin flame until a certain point in my journey. Okay, so I cleared Mount Shasta, Knot of the Light, part 1, returned the root chakra back to Fiji. The Fiji is actually the portal of God. And in part 2, I burned Samael and I returned the all-seeing eye back to the portal of God. Okay, in part 1, I even undid the Emancipation Proclamation and more. So there's a lot through these. They're very complex and beyond your limited mind space. Then I think this was a Lionsgate portal. Yeah, Christ returned. So interesting enough, in the Lionsgate portal, I freed Jesus's soul back in 2020. And then in the new Lionsgate portal, I birthed the new earth. Okay, and that's when God said enough. He bypassed a year's time of healing opportunity for mankind. Activated Fiji pyramid. I always forget about that one. The first pyramids I activated were females. First it was clearing Mount Shasta, then it was activating the pyramid in Fiji, and those enlarged my heart. I used my light to do it. It's not just healing in them, I activated them. Okay, I did that in February of 21. That is also the Earth's root chakra that I returned back from Mount Shasta. God does not believe in bloodshed, sacrifice, and suffering and division. Okay, started healing the sun, returned the light language back to the sun from where I died, and I do believe it was at Lake Titicaca. Lionsgate portal ascension pathway. You have to rise into higher energy light. Okay. Then I started eliminating the false pull of the moon, and there was multiple of these in the path to righteousness. Multiple. Okay. So when I told you on this on this last moon that it was an ethereal eclipse, I meant what I said. Guided meditation to eliminate the false concept of time. The time vortex was not the same. In the birthing of the new earth, the seasons are expansive. They're quite different. Time is different. It's breath, life, breath, the light of God. Okay. These were more ascension portal activations. This was Indonesia, Myanmar, Machu Picchu, Budapest, Thailand, Peru, and all of these were the female ones. Okay. Then the Sphinx, I activated the Sphinx. And then eventually I found out that I'm the one that created the Sphinx when I went into the Sekhmet lifetime. Then eventually when Horus returns way down here, he rose from the Sphinx. Okay, the Sphinx is not called the Sphinx. The true meaning of the name of it, which I can't pronounce, is Horus returned. And this one I activated the dormant chakra system, 7D. That's when I started taking us into 7D, and that was also relevant in the new earth creation. I undid the collective and individual shadow from the earth, which you as a person had to free that as well. You can't have religion. You can't have anything that takes you out of your sovereignty being of God. Okay. Then I went into the biggest battle with my twin soul you can't imagine. And this one, God married my DM and I right around my birthday. He tried to come home. Then I realized in Adam's time frame, Adam and Eve, he chose a false goddess. And that's who I was undoing, the bride of Christ. Okay. Attack on my soulmate and me. It was very painful. I almost died. They ripped apart my arm and more. And all of that played out on this channel. Okay. And then God said, enough. It was a battle of life for my other half. I chose love. I chose life. And unfortunately, he did not. And so I got a walk in. Okay, after a year fighting for my soul. But it makes sense for what happened to Jesus when you know the truth. He didn't die on a cross. He was poisoned, hence the Last Supper. They took his blood and created a contract that enslaved you all. So then I kept saying twin flames will unite by me, and I didn't know what that meant. I got a walk-in DM on August 30th of 22. It was very painful. I felt my DM die. I saw the separating of the soul, the ripping apart, the creating a new one. Then I got to bring down the blood of Christ, the true anointing, and taking us into the Garden of Eden portal. Then this is the twins they were talking about. I undid the Holy Grail and united Jesus and Mary Magdalene, resurrection of Christ on December 25th of 22 on Christmas Day. This one happened live on this channel and I didn't know it was coming. I never knew any of this was coming. It just happened through me. So I undid the Holy Grail. It was not holy. And I united Jesus and Miriam's soul because I got a walk in and I was able to unite with my DM. Okay. In the soul level. And then I undid more solar eclipse eliminations. And again, there's more of these in the path to righteousness. Then this was part 2 of taking us into 7D, Pleiades Galaxy. This is actual healing for the earth, for the ascension, and it was relevant in birthing the new earth. Then we went into the masculine pyramids because I got a new pure heart soul DM. So he was with me in the energy. We activated Ecuador, Kilimanjaro, Congo, British Columbia, and demolished the White House. It actually burns, and there's tunnels under there that will crumble and be exposed. Then in this one, they had told me I was Sekhmet, and it took me a minute to process. Okay. And I was like, Sekhmet, Book of Revelations, and what I have done. Time to protect our children. That's true because they try to hurt them. The Matrix. So my whole twin flame journey, what happened, it was not easy. It was very painful. And then understanding that I am the Eye of Ra, he is the Eye of Horus. And so I actually did a healing for that for everybody too. Then I also activated more pyramids, Nigeria, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. And I've been doing this for 5 years, and it took a toll on my physical vessel, and I almost died, and my DM did die. Then, so they told me I was Sekhmet here, and I didn't know why or what that meant yet. But then came the Nile portal. This is your ascension pathway, and we are now in the Nile portal, okay? I cleared the crystal in the core of the earth. They put my feet in water. I called my lifetime back of Sekhmet, so that soul fragment came back to me. I crushed the dark crystal and it shot like a karmic play out. And then the Nile turned to blood and then it dried out. And that's hence that painting behind me I actually did recently. Mount Shasta part 2. I burned Samael. He was not of the light. That's your puppet master. And he just gets people to do his duty. Okay. God ascension work, darkness removal. California cracked all the way from the mountainside all the way down, and California falls in the water. Final phase, we were supposed to have 2 years left. Okay, because Fiji part 2 is not on here. It's only in the path to righteousness. And if you chose past fear and judgment and ego and things, and you did the path to righteousness, I took you through everything. I healed it for you, and I helped you get into the new earth. That was a blessing, and it was priceless, truly. And it took me 5 years to do it all. So this was my very first workshop. And in this one, I divided all darkness from light. That's what I was sent here for. This guy was actually getting a download of Mount Shasta and what I said happened. Truth about the Ankh, that is the true cross. Okay. Jesus did not die on a cross. They broke it when they stole his soul. GMOs, that's your genetic modified. Those modify your DNA. Hence also the V did as well. And I undid all of that. It's part of a karmic play out. More eclipse stuff, more undoing of false eclipses, more undoing of the false alignment of the sun and the moon. And I talked about that a lot. This was your activation of the eye of Horus and the eye of Ra in the brain. You need those activated. And this last time we had a full moon dealt with that as well for the new earth. This one, I healed the directional, the equilibrium, north, east, south, and the west, and I repaired the west back to the north. You know, we were supposed to have all of these people rise with me to help with it, and they did not. A lot of people couldn't see past the resistance. And this one, I processed Earth's death. I took her into heaven. These are workshops. This is the actual work. It's not me talking about them. And you can see most people choose not to see a lot of it. And that's why God ordered a great reset. So I processed Earth's death. It was very painful. I had to do it through my vessel. And then I took her into heaven. And that didn't fully make sense until now, because recently I birthed the new earth, which was so cool. King Charles and his wife's skin fell off. They are part of the reptilian cortex. The UK and the United States are the ones who created the V and the whole, everything that went with it. Then my new flame finally took on Jesus's soul fragment that was left in a flower in the Garden of Eden waiting for him. Okay, then I did more to the sun, third dimensional or Pleiadian cortex stuff. Final removal of time, another layer of that. Okay. And then this kept talking. I got a download of why not everybody will make it, because just like that guy said, you have to be a pure sovereign being. What does it mean when I cleared Mount Shasta and I redid the crystalline grid? It's all right here. Then I also talked about snakes, because on my journey, I would puke up snakes at the certain times. And that deals with Sekhmet and full power returned of Christ. Then Horus returned, and he returned from the Sphinx. And again, people are kind of picking and choosing what they want to see, because they can't see past the resistance or past their shadow. And I kept getting a lot of judgment towards the return of Christ, unfortunately. So after some time on, this was during the April 8th eclipse, God had me do a live that day, and I spoke through the sun and the moon right when it happened, and I called everybody home through the sun and the moon. Waves of justice were on their way. I had to undo the religious complex. Religion is a shadow. It's not of God. Okay. Then I returned the full power of the sun, and this one is Newgrange, Ireland. That's where they went when Atlantis fell. Okay. So then the Incas and Mayans returned from Lake Titicaca, which is also where I was rebirthed. And you'll see that in the dormant chakra system one. And then God finally said enough. Okay, because people were not choosing past the resistance, and they were continually trying to remove my DM&I and stop our union and things like that. So then all of this, and this one, I take us into the Nile, and God gives you a message of why he bypassed a whole years of time, and he just rendered a great reset. Day one, birthing new earth, Lionsgate started on August 1st of this year. And that is when God united the last component of my DM&I, which was Adam and Eve, put our feet into the core, and it completely separated the matrix. And then it kept going. The sun and the moon alignment, DNA came through. These are massive. And as I was doing these, I was undoing the matrix completely. Day 6, I called back all divination tools, all light. You cannot use anything of God in the darkness. You will be cut off if you stay there. You cannot take that with you. You will change. Day 7, the 12 trumpets came with the angels and said there will be 3 major events now that are going to occur on the matrix side to cause people to look up and rise to the gates of heaven. Day 8, rebirth. It was the final portal of time. And then your heart reviews will now be implemented. Matrix releasing, reset of mankind. We went to the Northern Star, Great Northern Star in Northeast Asia, and I helped process the Earth's death. So that is where you can find all of the return of Christ, what it means, what happened to God truly, which was my DM&I. Adam and Eve, Sekhmet and Horace, and Jesus and Mary Magdalene were all the same soul, just different lifetimes. Okay. So in order to rise, you must be a pure sovereign being. You cannot be controlled by karmic demise. You cannot be feared. You cannot be manipulated. You have to have power and control of your body, your soul, and your mind. You need to know how to co-create with spirit, how to be heart-centered and balanced of co-creation. That's why every course I've done, every workshop I've done, the path to righteousness was all your keys handed to you by the one. And the only abundance you're going to have is in the new earth. And if money stopped you, that's silliness. That's the shadow, because anybody who wanted it and came to me, I worked with them. So don't fall prey to the delusions, the illusions, and the mind control and the suffrage and the division. We cannot stay there anymore. We are in a karmic play out now. Karma is unfolding for all. Rise above and rise now. Choose unconditional love. Choose power. You control money. You can call it in, its energy, but you only can manifest what you are. Lack is your biggest block to all. So much love, my friends. I will see you next time. Have a very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. I'm going to go get ready for day 1 of 13 gates, clearing and healing. It's a 13-day workshop that I'm now doing that was available for all of mankind to utilize. So that tells you specifically we are in the end time, okay? The 13 gates are all the portal activations that I've done. I closed down all 12 of darkness, and through those, you had to make it through all of them. You had to choose unconditional love and pure sovereignty the whole way, undoing your karma in every way, calling your power back, getting those DNA activations, evolution of the soul. And now, because God bypassed a whole year's time, only the pure hearts will rise. So much love, my friends. I am your light home, and I'm so excited. The new earth filled with abundance and love, healed foods, pure water, so much joy. And all you have to do to be there is to be able to be free of all those shackles that bind you, free of the control of the mind, body, and soul, pure sovereignty, balanced from the heart center, and happy and joyous and filled with gratitude, and a lens of unconditional love. See you next time. And it's an actual vibration, not just words. Bye-bye.